John and Ken Show. John Cobelt and Ken Champeau, KFI, AM 640.
All right, we are reviewing the horrific speakers today in San Francisco. Kevin DeLeon, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Jerry Brown. As Brown made it official, signing the legislation that will raise your gas prices through the year 2030 for no effect at all. To show the world that California is battling climate change. Even if Trump isn't, we're leading the way. And then we look behind and nobody's following us. John's right. 11 years later, after Schwarzenegger passed the first climate bill, still nobody's following us.
Within 3 years, the gas will be up 63 cents a gallon. It'll cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars, probably $600 per person if you use a tank a week. This is all lying, posturing nonsense. The real deal is they're getting billions of dollars, and a quarter of this money is going to go to finance the high-speed rail nonsense. So this is a terrible, terrible deal. And the Republicans gave in on it, too, and they all should be ashamed. They all should be thrown out of office.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've seen polls over the last 10 years that Californians, yes, believe in climate change, yes, think we ought to do something, and then the question comes up, how about raising your energy prices? No! So when they get wind of this, and especially when they're going to find out that it's for nothing, for naught. If you do believe in climate change, the rest of the world has to do this too, and they're not.
There's nothing the world can do. You have to cut global emissions by 80%. That will never happen. 80% just to stop things. That's never going to happen. This is all a fraud. This is a total beginning-to-end, multi-decade fraud. It's a hustle. Right, it's a hustle to take money from people, from rich countries to poor countries, from the American people to the government. It's a fraud. They can't roll back the warming. It's impossible. They've said so themselves.
Let's finish up Schwarzenegger's. He started off calling Jerry Brown the great leader, but then eventually he starts to take aim at the fact that America and Trump apparently are not believing in the Paris Agreement. Let's listen.
We can do it on our own. It shows great leadership. We're going to inspire other states and other cities to do the same thing.
Not working.
And it shows also to the rest of the world that America did not drop out of the Paris Agreement. The states and the cities in America, the private sector, the academic sector, the scientists, everyone is still in a Paris Agreement. There's only one man that dropped out. That America did not drop out. Isn't it interesting that we are number one in our economic growth? We are the 6th largest economy in the world. We're creating jobs every day. Don't those conservative Republicans get the message? Maybe we should stop lying to the people. Stop lying to the people. Stop it.
Wow, I really miss him.
He's
and by
insane.
the way, I didn't see people rioting in the streets when Trump dropped us out of the Paris Climate Accords.
Nobody cares. If you go look it up yourself, they poll the top 20 issues. You know what comes in last? Global warming. Always comes in last. Public doesn't care. Public does not care. If you ask them a loaded question, it's like, do you think it's important to combat global warming? Most people will say, yeah. But in relative to all the other issues, they don't care. And saying yes, first of all, most people have no idea what it's all about. So it's an ignorant question. It's a set of ignorant answers, I should say.
All right, let's move on.
And one more thing. The Paris Agreement, if everybody signed up and did what they promised, in 83 years, the climate would be 0.2 of a degree cooler. 0.2. And California's share of that is 8/1000ths of a degree. It's a hustle. It's a fraud. Look at their numbers. They admit it's 0.2 of a degree.
How is 0.2 of a degree going to stop climate change?
It doesn't. That's what I'm telling you.
Then what's the point of the Paris Agreement?
Money transfer.
Money transfer.
Money transfer, because this is driven by people who believe in the global socialist ideology. Much of Europe is into this, and it's about punishing the Western world, the United States. We were on the hook for billions and billions of dollars in payments. Those payments would go to small, poor countries who suddenly claimed, oh, the seas are going to rise and the 80 people on our island are going to be drowning. We need money. I don't know what, to build a higher hill. You look at the countries that were going to get the money and look at the countries that were going to pay the money, and it was global socialism. And that the true believers who run all these countries think that's the way the world ought to be governed. There ought to be a world government, and there ought to be a transfer of wealth from rich to poor, not only on a micro level among people, but on a macro level between countries, between civilizations, between the Western world and the undeveloped, backwards third world.
All right, let's listen to Jerry Brown, who first he puts on the ointments to Schwarzenegger, but then goes into his end of days speech about this.
A few weeks ago, it did not look like it could happen, but it did happen. And that is it's a little bit mystery. It's a lot of factors. And I want to say at that point, Governor Schwarzenegger was pretty amazing. We had Republicans all over the country. Only one signed into law a Global Solutions Act. This is the only law in the United States. It's the only law that exists. It's right here.
Stop.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
He contradicts everything they all preach right there. Well, we're going to be a leader. Other nations and cities and states are going to look to us. Washington's going to look to us. We're going to be a leader. 11 years. What did he say? This is the only law of its kind. Nobody's ever followed. So on the one hand, he says, this is unique. This is special. This is unusual. On the other hand, it's like, oh, everybody's going to copy us. No.
That's right.
No.
Hasn't happened.
And so our jobs, our industries move to Texas and Arizona and Nevada,
yeah,
among other places. See, they're so full of it. Keep playing it.
It's the only law that exists. It's right here. In addition to that, he appointed Mary Nichols.
Yeah.
I appointed her when I was governor back in 1978. So that's another thing.
That's
Experience counts. Now, all you young people, I know how you feel. I used to be young. I didn't give a damn about experience. A little later in life, like 42 years later, I can tell you, experience is good.
Nice.
You know stuff. But Arnold, by putting in Mary Nichols, by signing this far-reaching bill, I mean, it's pretty incredible. This is not one of these ordinary legislative things. We're dealing with climate change. And next to the threat of nuclear danger, nothing is more serious in the world than extinction. I just heard former Mayor Bloomberg say 3 days ago that climate change could turn Earth into something like Mars, a complete wasteland. There are tipping points.
Wait, stop.
Michael Bloomberg's the expert.
Michael Bloomberg says it's going to be like Mars. Mars is icy cold. He's talking about overheating.
He just means no life, I guess.
No,
Just like barren.
they just make things up.
Michael Bloomberg's another one that was looking for something to climb onto when he had nothing to do and his popularity was waning.
Tremendous egos.
That's why he started focusing on the size of your soda cup.
These are all spent condoms.
Mm.
Their days have gone by. They're all old and spent and wrinkled and worn out. And so they're screaming and shouting, the apocalypse is coming, because people turn their heads and pay attention to them. These are sad, old, used-up men.
Now let's finish this up with Brown.
There are tipping points where the Earth goes into irreversible change, and that change can mean extinction of the
this
millions
is the speech
of
on
species.
the corner.
And somewhere along the line, we get extinguished too. So the gravity of this topic is so great that it's hard to talk about it. People think you're a little wacky. I mean, come on. What are you, Cassandra? Is this the end of the world? If we don't do something about it, it is the end of the world as we know it. This is very important.
It's
this
the
is not
end of the
about
world
a politician.
as we know it.
11 years from now, when this thing expires in 2030, I don't want to tell you how old I'll be, but I'll be in my 90s if I'm around, which who knows. So this is not about me. It's about the world. And California is leading that world in dealing with the principal existential threat that humanity faces. I mean, what could be a more glorious undertaking than the one that we're now embarked upon? So, yes, California, we're on the move. We got plenty of warts, plenty of problems, plenty of poverty, crime, craziness, all the rest. But we have what it takes in our generous welcoming of the immigrant, of our embrace of science and technology and innovation, and our willingness to get down to business and do stuff. And other people will follow. We are a nation state in a globalizing world, and we're having an impact in turning around this carbonized world into a decarbonized, sustainable future. So with that, I just say, let's get the bill signed.
I can imagine. I have to look at the photos. I mean, is he wearing like the sandwich board that says repent?
Yeah.
Because that's what he sounds like, the guy in the corner, like you said.
He's insane.
Screaming. He's got the megaphone just bellowing.
Extinction? Our human species is going to be extinguished. We're facing extinction. It's the end of the world as we know it. You couldn't parody this.
Some people need this to drive them, that everything has to be a crisis and everything is end of days. Pretty soon, Jerry Brown will be that guy telling everybody to collect all their supplies and find a bunker and hide underground because end of days are here.
He's there already.
He is there already. All right, more coming up.
John and Ken, KFI, Deborah Marquez News.
It is the end of the